Give us your name, rank, and branch of service.
My name is Glenn Bondy. I was a corporal in the United States Marine Corps.
And did you have an area of expertise, per se?
When I enlisted in the Marines, I was 17. I was right out of high school, and they would not send you to Vietnam unless you were 18 or older. So they sent me to North Carolina, and I went to I call it a clerk school for 3 or 4 months. It was a payroll type thing, but I never paid anyone the whole 2 years I was in the service.
Really?
Yes. So.
Oh, that's interesting. And eventually, you move on from that to?
Yes. Well, I did my boot camp in San Diego, infantry training, jungle training, all out in California. I got sent over to Vietnam.
Now the years. What years are we looking at here?
I was in the Marines from July of '67 to July of '69. I was sent to Vietnam. I got there in Da Nang on April 1st of 1968. I spent 13 months there until May 1st of '69.
Now, if I recall correctly, that was a pretty hot time.
May of 1968 was the deadliest month of the whole war for the Americans. It was over almost 2,500 servicemen were killed that month. So yeah, and it was a rough time.
Where did you find yourself then in Vietnam? Where geographically were you?
I was north of Da Nang. It was I had a mountains on one side and the South China Sea on the other side. I was in a headquarters battalion, assigned to 1st Marine Division.
Okay.
So I operated out of division.
Okay, alrighty. And you spent a lot of times on the front lines?
Well, the thing about Vietnam, there were no front lines. It was all there.
Okay.
At night, they would send rockets. The Viet Cong would send rockets over the mountains into our camps in the Da Nang and into the air base. But yeah, no, I didn't. I went when I could. I was 18. I volunteered for everything. When I went on a patrol, I volunteered to walk point. If there was a night ambush, I raised my hand. But I had, I guess you might call it a day job. I guarded money, and I had a major and usually a staff or a gunny sergeant that I worked for. And when they would go into Da Nang to make a money run or something of that, I would be the guard in the back of the pickup truck. They would handcuff the sea bag full of money to my arm and throw me in the back. I'd carried every kind of weapon. I had a Tommy gun, I had a sawed-off shotgun, I had a regular AR-15, but I remember telling the major, I said, "Why are you handcuffing it to me?" I said, "If we get hit, they're just cutting my arm off and take it," and he just laughed. So, but yeah, my job was not to go out every 2 or 3 days. I would go out maybe once every 10, 12 days. We would do a sweep around the division. And then some nights we'd go out on a night ambush, things like that. Nothing was easy, but I would say I had a very easy position compared to some people. Okay. The major, who liked me, cringed every time I went out somewhere, and he kept saying, "Bondy, you're going to get yourself killed." And I'm like, "I'll be okay." I'd carry a machine gun, I'd carry a radio on my back. But
did you ever regret volunteering? Since you were the volunteer, did you ever walk away and say, "I shouldn't have volunteered for that"?
No. The worst thing that happened to me is I had a man named Christopher Prather from Minneapolis assigned to me, and I took a team up on the mountains that night for an ambush, and I told Chris to get his gear. We called him Rocket Man already. I said, "Grab your gear, we're going up on a mountain," and he said, "I'm writing a letter home." So I had gotten in trouble a couple times for not writing home. My mom would call the Red Cross, and the Red Cross would call, and then I'd be in front of the captain, and I'd have to sit there and write a letter. So I'm thinking, okay, he's writing a letter home. Go ahead, finish it. Well, we got hit that night. And we lost, I don't know, 6, 8 Marines. The Viet Cong had got through our wire. That was the biggest battle that I was in. And I was out for 2 days and nights, come back the next day. And we lived in, they're wood huts with a metal roof. And there was just a row of cots. And you had your little foot locker, and that's about all you had, everything. And when I come in, Prather's cot's empty. There's nothing there. So I said, well, where's Rocket Man? And they said, oh, he got killed. So he had walked into another ambush. So to this day, I still feel bad about that. If I'd have made him come with me, now, at the VA, they say, hey, he might have got killed with you. And I said, yeah, but none of us got killed.
Right.
So, yeah, that was probably the worst thing that I take away from there. A number of people I know got killed.
Grow up pretty quick?
Very quick, very quick.
Yeah, exactly.
Come back from there, I had the privilege of unveiling the Vietnam Memorial out in front of the police department. And there's probably a handful of guys in there that I went to school with, some that I graduated with. When I see that, I kind of
hits home?
Yeah. And then a lot of guys started dying in the early 50s. If the Agent Orange thing, they knew it was bad, but they sprayed it anyway. I have some effects from that I'm dealing with now.
And I've heard so much about Agent Orange and the effects, but I've never had somebody in front of me where I've asked them, what effects do you have? I mean, what do you actually see?
I've got type 2 diabetes. I have neuropathy in my feet. Just recently they said maybe I had cranial neuropathy.
Really? Okay.
I have it in my hands. I have severe hearing loss in both ears, but that's not from the Agent Orange. There's just a number of things. A lot of the guys died of cancer, things like that. And another issue that I had is the 2 times that I wasn't in Vietnam, I was at Camp Lejeune in North Carolina.
Gotcha.
And the water was bad there, and they knew that.
Right.
So.
And that's only recently come out.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, the 2 years I was in, I probably spent 19 months in places I didn't need to be. But, I was, like I said, I was 17. They trained you well. They trained you to kill.
Right.
If they told you to run through a wall, you do it. You're scared, but you just do it. You train, and training is a major part in it.
Now, you eventually get into, long after your career is over, you get into law enforcement. You serve eventually as the police chief here in Taylor. Did you serve at all in the military police or anything?
No, I did not.
Okay,
no.
All right. So that really didn't. It wasn't like you shifted gears.
My father was in the Army in World War II. I have 3 younger brothers who were in the 82nd Airborne. They went in after me. They did not have to come over because you had to sign a waiver, and I told them, don't come over here. But my dad was an auxiliary sergeant back when they first began, and he pushed us towards. He said, be a policeman or fireman. So myself, my youngest brother was a policeman, and then my second brother right under me, he was a fireman. So we all, we followed in his guidance.
Turned out to be a good career.
We all had good careers.
Yeah, that's excellent. Now, going back to your military service in the Marines, what do you think the toughest situation was that you faced? I mean, was it generally just going to Vietnam, or?
One of the hardest things was leaving to go, not knowing. I just watching my mom and dad, watch me go, and my mom was worried to death. Like I said, she would write the Red Cross or call them, and then they would be on me. And finally, they sent me a tape recorder where I could tape messages. But every now and then, you'd hear rockets going off and stuff. But I just got always, I'm good, I'm safe. Nothing's going to happen here.
Right.
A few of my guys got wounded, but like I said, in general, I was in pretty good shape over there.
Those personal things, though, are things that probably stick in your mind forever.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
How your mother looked at you when you left, or your father.
The same thing. When we came home from Vietnam, we flew from Okinawa to L.A. But on the air base, when we come off on the bus, they're beating on the windows and spitting at us and stuff.
Right, yeah.
And we're we're telling the bus driver, stop this bus and let us off.
Yeah.
Well, he had been doing it, and he's no, you guys aren't getting off. But then we went to the airport, and I remember I called my mom. I said, hey, Mom, I'm in L.A., I made it. And I said, this is my flight, I'll be here this time. And I just remember people looking at you, and it was a fun. It wasn't the reception. Not that I was looking for anything. It just was And I remember I got on the plane and I sat next to this lady, and I was dark. I was tan to the, and never said a word. We flew all the way to Detroit, and when we landed, she turned to me. She said, "Did you just get home from Vietnam?" And I said, yes. And then she said, well, good luck. The whole plane emptied, but me.
Really?
I just didn't. The captain finally came, and he said, come on, son, you gotta deplane now.
Yeah.
And I remember walking out and down the runway there, you could see my parents and brothers and sisters, and that was I'll never forget that either.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
those are moments in time that just stick in your memory.
Yeah. And I've got friends I still talk with that were there with me, and things like that.
Was that the most favorite takeaway that you have when you talk about friends that you still have and comrades and stuff, or was there something else that sticks in your mind?
No, the thing over there, there's a couple weird things. Like the 2 years I was in the Marines, I never ate off a plate once. It was always a tin tray. But that was better than eating sea rations. But, it was hot over there. It was rainy. It wasn't pleasant, but just the things that really stick out. Certain things about over there I remember like yesterday. I still remember Prather sitting there saying, come on, get your gear. I remember it like it was like we're talking right now.
Gotcha.
I have some nightmares or some bad dreams. I used to have nightmares. They were in 3D. And one day I was, Lamoran was mayor, and he called me and he said, would you be the speaker at the memorial, the Veterans Memorial Day? And he said the guy canceled. And I said, okay. As soon as I hung up, I got sick to my stomach. I said, oh, I don't know if I can do this. So anyway, I show up, and they goes, where's your speech? I said, it's right here. I said,
You don't need any cue cards.
No, I said, how long you want me to talk? You want 5 minutes? You want 2 hours? So I got into it. I didn't get very far, and I broke down. And John Dingle was there, and he come up and hugged me, and he said, I'm sorry. He said, I guess I didn't do enough for you veterans. And I said, John, you've done as much as anybody. And at that point, I went to the VA in Ann Arbor, and I've had excellent care ever since.
Yeah, sometimes you face that moment in time.
Yeah,
could have happened in Vietnam, could have happened beforehand. For you, it happened really at that point in time.
When I first got home, I drank a lot. I partied. I think that's how I kept it tucked in.
Gotcha.
A number of years back, I quit drinking, and I was good for a while, and then it just seemed like the dream started up again, and So, but like I said, I think now everything's going well. I'm very happy with the VA hospital, Ann Arbor, and Detroit. You know, I have no complaints with that. I actually happy to be alive at this age. I never thought I'd make it this far.
Glenn, thanks for coming in.
Not a problem.
This has been a pleasure.